ladies and gentlemen, students and scholars, teachers and trainers, professors, professionals, the most honorable President Prime Modi ji, respected ministers and managers, honorable doctors, directors, honorable advocates, advertisers, administrators and advisors, those who are watching, I heartily, cordially welcome all of you. It is nice time, nice place, nice section. What is happening around the world, let us know in the form of unity and diversity nationally, internationally. A lot of changes we see, we record around us day by day. As we see nature, natural changes, these are the results of the human interferences in the nature. High temperature is the result of human interference. Nature itself maintains its balance, but when man tries to interrupt the nature, when man interferes in nature, then nature never tolerates and it brings drastic, devastated changes in the form of natural calamities. It happened in India whenever there comes any change in nature. Indians handle it patiently because India is the natural country of the world. History is the evidence of it. Whenever there come any change in nature, Indians become friendly with nature. Why Europe's worried about US tech dominance under Trump regime? News from London. When President Donald Trump when President Donald Trump issued an executive order in Feb against the chief prosecutor of the International Criminal Court for investigating Israel for war crimes, Microsoft was suddenly thrust into the middle of a geopolitical fight. For years, Microsoft had supplied the court based in the Netherlands and troops that prosecutes human rights breaches, genocides and other crimes of international concern. With digital services such as email, Trump's order abruptly barred US firms from providing services to the prosecutor Karim Khan. Soon after, Microsoft, based in Washington, helped turn off Khan's ICC email accounts, freezing him out of communication with colleagues just a few months after the court had issued an arrest warrant for PM Netanyahu for Israel's actions in the Gaza Strip. Microsoft's swift compliance with Trump's orders, reported earlier by the AP, shocked policymakers across Europe. It was a wake-up call for a problem far bigger than just one email account, stoking fears that the Trump administration would leverage America's tech dominance to penalize opponents even in allied countries like the Netherlands. The ICC showed this can happen, said Bart Groothuis, a former head of cybersecurity for the Dutch Ministry of Defense, who is now a member of the European Parliament. It's not just fantasy. Some at the ICC are now using Proton, a Swiss company that provides encrypted email services. Three people with knowledge of the communication shared. Microsoft said the decision to suspend Khan's email had been made in consultation with the ICC's. Khan has been on leave from the ICC since last month, pending sexual misconduct investigation. He had denied the allegations. The episode had set off alarms across Europe about how dependent European governments, businessmen and citizens are on US tech companies like Microsoft for essential digital infrastructure, and how hard it will be to disentangle themselves. Many institutions are exploring alternatives. In the Netherlands, the subject of digital autonomy and sovereignty has the full attention of the central government. French scientists find new blood type. People with severe diabetes cured in new treatment trial. A single infusion of a stem cell based treatments may have cured 10 out of 12 people with the most severe form of type 1 diabetes. 1 year later, these 10 patients no longer need insulin. The other 2 patients need much lower doses. The experimental treatment called Gemilsal and made by Vertex Pharmaceuticals of Boston involves stem cells that scientists probed to him into pancreatic islet cells. Ex-Columbia grab student released from ICE custody. Howard and Trump restart talks looking to end bitter dispute. Airlines keep avoiding me airspace after US attack. Taiwan is of course a country praised in rebuke to China. Several leaders of Imran's party get relief from Pak courts. News from Islamabad. Ukraine raises $43 billion for deaf industry. Top Apple's execs have their eyes on perplexity. Pahalgam NIA arrests two for harboring Pakistani terrorists. Provided food shelter to ultras before attack. This news from Jammu. The National Investigation Agency, in a major breakthrough, has arrested two men for harboring the terrorists who had carried out the April 22 Pahalgam attack that killed 26 tourists and grievously injured 16 others. NC cites Himachal example to renew J&K statehood revival call. US strikes 3 Iranian nuclear facilities. Iran was to respond. Nukes sites fully obliterated, claims Trump. Modi dials Iran's praise, calls for de-escalation from New Delhi. Prime Minister Narendra Modi Sunday conveyed to Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian India's deep concern over Iran's conflict with Israel and called for immediate escalation of the situation through dialogue and diplomacy. The phone conversation between Modi and Pezeshkian came hours after the US bombed 3 major nuclear sites: Fordo, Natanz and Isfahan in Iran, bringing itself into the Israel-Iran conflict. In a social media post, Modi said he expressed deep concern at the recent escalations and that dialogue and diplomacy is the way forward for the early restoration of regional peace. We discussed in detail about the current situation, expressed deep concern at the recent escalations, Modi said, reiterated our call for immediate de-escalation, dialogue and diplomacy as the way forward, the Prime Minister added. Reiterated our call for immediate de-escalation, dialogue and diplomacy as the way forward and for early restoration of regional peace, security and stability, the Prime Minister added. The US attack on the Iranian nuclear facilities has triggered fears of a wider regional conflicts. Iran says the US committed grave violations of UN Charter, international law and NPT. This news from Tehran. Iran on Sunday vowed to avenge the US bombing of 3 of its major nuclear facilities, saying the American strikes will have everlasting consequences. The reaction by Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi came hours after the US struck Iranian nuclear facilities in Fordo, Natanz and Isfahan using bunker buster bombs which were dropped by B-2 bombers. Nuke sites fully obliterated, claims Trump. From Dubai, the United States attacked three sites in Iran early Sunday, inserting itself into Israel's war aimed at destroying the Iranian nuclear program in a risky gambit to weaken a long-line fight that prompted fears of a wider regional conflict as Tehran accused Washington of launching a dangerous war. CZ Council meets to arrive in Kashi today. AI cuts 118 flights with narrow body plan on 19 routes. For tourists from Haryana killed as car hits trailer truck. INS Tamal to be commissioned into Navy on July 1. High Court holds railways liable for Wilfrid's losses in 1993 case. News from Chandigarh, the Punjab and Haryana High Court has made it clear that the railways would be liable to compensate for losses suffered due to pilferage of consignments during rail transit, rejecting the railway's defense that the goods were booked at the owner's risk. The High Court clarified that such classification does not absolve them of liability if negligence is evident. Citing sections 79, 99 and 94 of the Railways Act, the High Court emphasized the duty of railways to account for the consignments once they assume control, even if loaded at private sidings. The refusals to allow reweightment, a right under Section 79, was deemed a serious lapse the High Court had had. Justice Pankaj Jain passed this order recently while deciding a 34-year-old matter in the appeals filed by the Steel Authority of India Limited and Indian Iron and Steel Company Limited, challenging the dismissal of their claim petition by Railway Claims Tribunal. Monsoon advances over Himachal. The southwest monsoon has advanced over most parts of Himachal Pradesh and reached Pathankot in Punjab on Sunday. The northern limit of monsoon now extends through Jaipur, Agra, Rampur, Dehradun, Shimla, Pathankot and Jammu. Meteorological conditions are favorable for the monsoon to progress further into the remaining parts of the North Arabian Sea, additional areas of Rajasthan and parts of Punjab, Haryana, Chandigarh and the rest of Himachal Pradesh. Door-to-door voter verification likely in Bihar. Election Commission is contemplating an intensive house-to-house verification exercise during the special summary revision of electoral rolls in Bihar ahead of assembly polls aimed at not just adding electors but also deleting three Bilaspur, three Bilaspur villages, worried about impact of tunneling work for rail line. Some 20 houses have developed cracks. Villagers say from Kulu. An atmosphere of panic and fear has taken over three villages in Bilaspur district of Himachal Pradesh, where at least 20 houses developed cracks due to the ongoing tunneling works for laying the track for the proposed opponents mobilizes against government's move to appoint chief secretary as the board head. Direct assault on Punjab's self-respect. News from Chandigarh. Reacting sharply to the Punjab Council of Ministers nod on Saturday to appoint the Chief Secretary as the chairperson of all urban development authorities. Opposition parties in Punjab Congress, Shiromani Akali Dal and Bharatiya Janata Party hit out at the AAP-led government in the state, strongly condemning the move. Leaders of the opposition in Punjab Assembly, Pratap Singh Bajwa, said Chief Minister Bhagwant Mann had mortgaged Punjab's authority to Delhi's whims. Spy ring busted. Jawan among two held in Amritsar. Punjab DGP Gaur Yadav said they seized incriminating evidence from the accused. He said the Jawan was in direct contact with ISI. News from Amritsar. Amritsar Rural Police have arrested two men, including a Jawan in the army, for alleged involvement in espionage activities linked to Pakistan Inter-Services Intelligence, said Punjab Director General of Police DGP Gaur Yadav on Sunday. Drug overdose, Bathinda sees another death. Three extortion cases in Taran solved. Study flags gaps in international space law. News from Patiala. Punjabi University conducted a study that highlighted the necessity of establishing a legal boundary between airspace and space and addressing the issues of space debris pollution. Professor Gurpreet Kaur Pannu said the study reveals the need to review international laws regulating space, as the current legal framework has become outdated in line with scientific and technological advancements. The study conducted by Punjab University revealed the need to review the laws as current framework is outdated in line with scientific and tech advancements. Ludhiana West outcome today. This is what it means for all parties. Will set the tone for 2027 elections. What's at stake for who? AAP The party needs a victory as it needs to prove it to opposition parties ahead of the 2027 assembly polls that it is still popular among people and has a chance for a re-election. What about Congress? The result could further strain divisions within Punjab Congress as Bharat Bhushan Ashu's election would mean that the faction which had former CM Chanjit Singh Channi and MLAs Rana Gurpreet Singh, Pragat Singh and Ashu would have an upper hand over the one that includes Punjab Congress President Amrinder Singh Rajawarding, leader of opposition Pratap Singh Bajwa and MP Sukhjinder Singh Randhawa. What about BJP? The Saffron Party will be keeping a check on its performance in the seat as it has remained a strong force on it. Its performance would also be a signal to how the Congress and AAP should prepare for future challenges. What about Shiromani Akali Dal? This is the party's first electoral contest after Sukhbir Singh Badal again became the party chief. A good performance here would give Badal the upper hand. Ashidi did not contest the four by-elections held after the 2024 Lok Sabha polls. Punjab Cong leaders diverged even on Omar's voter remarks. Punjab expert justifies Abdullah's stance. Veteran journalist Sukhdev Singh, who has been following Punjab's river water issues for close to 5 decades and is an expert on the subject, in a FB post justified Abdullah's stance, arguing that it aligned with internationally recognized riparian principles and the spirit of the Indian Constitution. Kashmir's position is also consistent with the Constitution and the Indus Treaty. In fact, the interests of the Kashmir and Punjab regarding the rivers are identical, which also align with riparian principle. The truth is that Punjab is merely being used in the context of the utilization of rivers flowing through Kashmir. Government committee issued 2 years to meet demands. Demands accepted. Panel member says from Hisar Public Works Department, Minister Ranveer Gangwa, a member of the four-member committee formed by the Haryana government to engage with agitating students from Haryana Agricultural University. Panel to address students' growing reliance on coaching. The Pure Paths Protecting Basmati Rice for Contamination. Khattar opens Baba Banda Bahadur Trust Office in Jamnanagar. News from Chandigarh. Union Housing, Urban Affairs and Power Minister Manolal Khattar on Sunday inaugurated the office of Baba Banda Banda Singh Bahadur Dogar Foundation Trust built at PWD Best House, Vayaspur in Jamnanagar. During meeting chaired by the Union Power Minister with the members of Baba Banda Singh Bahadur Dogar Foundation Trust, detailed discussion was held on initiating the construction of the Dogar Memorial. A monitoring committee and expert committee will monitor the construction process of the memorial, and the issue of organization of cultural programs related to Sikh heritage was also discussed. Former Cabinet Minister Kamarpal Gujjar was nominated as the chairman of the monitoring committee. The expert committee will be responsible for identifying key historical facts and significant events related to the monument, as well as contributing to its preservation and enhancement through in-depth research. Khattar said that the trust and other sub-committees will play an important role in preserving the rich heritage of Baba Banda Singh Bahadur and developing museums, monuments and literature on Logar and Baba Banda Singh Bahadur. During the meeting, the provision of giving income tax examples to the person or in institution of donating in the name of Baba Banda Singh Bahadur Logar Foundation Trust was also considered. Detailed discussions were held on the implementation of various projects under Baba Singh Bahadur Logar Foundation Trust and other related points. Company with fake cardiologist had Hisar Center blacklisted in 22 Ranj Heart Centers under Triple P model in Gurgaon, Panchkula and Ambala. MBBS graduates masqueraded as cardiologists while the center was under-screened for malpractices. Some patients in Jan this year found out that Dr. Pankaj or Mohan Sharma was masquerading as a cardiologist, so he was an MBBS graduate. Patients only found this out. Patients found this after reaching out to a practicing cardiologist in the city. Bribery, extortion charges. ED raid SP Assistant Drug Controller. ED is probing allegation of political patronage and complaints of extortion and bribe against Shireen in his present role as Dharamshala Assistant Drug Controller 2. Today on no clues in order. Today on no clues in murder of Zine liquor contractor. 12 injured in Una truck union clash. Himachal GUV facilitates meritorious kids. Monsoon advances over most parts of Himachal. Deputy CM reviews water projects. DGCA orders sweeping audit after AI 171 Uttarakhand crashes. DGCA revises guidelines for flight opponents in adverse weather conditions. Aim 360-degree assessment of strengths and gaps. Odisha planned snipers, choppers to keep eagle eye on Puri Rath Yatra. News from Bhubaneswar, Odisha government plans to deploy NSG snipers and aerial surveillance by Indian Air Force for Rath Yatra security in Puri on June 27. CM Mohan Charan Maji shared Sunday after chairing a final preparatory meeting for the annual festival. EC plans doorstep check during division of electoral rolls in Bihar. The Bihar house-to-house verification will be replicated in the next annual roll revision. Countrywide multiple factors make it mandatory for EC to keep updating the roles. PDP dismissed debate over polls as devoid of logic. Matter was pending before the High Court since 1993. Kolkata jeweler and Lynch Raj trader 8 held. EAM says shouldn't expect smooth sailing always with neighbors. This news from New Delhi. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar has shared that India should not expect smooth sailing all the time when it comes to its ties with the neighboring countries. However, he asserted that New Delhi has tried to create a collective interest to build an inherent stability in relationships irrespective of the regime. At the end of the day, the logic every one of our neighbors must realize is that working with India will give you benefits and not working with India has a cost, he said without elaborating. Some take longer to realize, some understand it better. One exception of courage is Pakistan because it has defined its identity under the army. In a way, it has an inbuilt hostility in it. So, if you put Pakistan aside, the logic will apply everywhere else. The EAM shared during an interactive session hosted on DD India. Jaishankar shared a link to the nearly hour-long interaction on his X handle on Saturday night in conversation with a strategic expert. He was also asked about the changes in stance of the US and China in the last 11 years and how New Delhi looked at this change. Where the US is concerned, yes, there is unpredictability. Therefore, at a systematic level, you stabilize it with as many linkages and relationships as possible, Jaishankar said. With China, if you have to stand up to the country, and we have had some very difficult periods, so it's important to prepare the capabilities, he said. The ties between the two countries nose nosedived significantly following the fierce clash in Galvin Valley in June 2020 that marked the most serious military conflict between the two sides in decades. The minister said one of the really perplexing aspects of India's China policy was the complete neglect of our border infrastructure in the previous decades. To have a China policy and neglect your border infrastructure was absurd, he agreed. And that is one of the things which has changed. We have today that standing up in defense of our national interest along the LAC. It is because we have built the border infrastructure to make that possible, Jaishankar said. During the conversation, he spoke at length about deepening of ties with countries in India's neighborhood and increase in reach out and the Gulf nations in the last 11 years. Under Prime Minister Narendra Modi is also deepening of ties with the Asian and Indo-Pacific regions. Atatollah Sakin in UP village worry about W Asia conflict. Shah says Naxals wouldn't get rest in monsoon, opponents will continue. Left parties condemn US strikes on Iran. Mature ex-partner offered to pay for MTP at 25 plus weeks, High Court says. Finding that the woman was left in a lurch by her own circumstances, as well as the refusal of her partner to offer her support in any manner, despite being an active participant in bringing about the present situation, the judge permitted her to implead him and inform him to remain present before them. This news from Mumbai, even as Mumbai High Court permitted a woman to terminate her over 25-week pregnancy. Her estranged partner offered to be with her during the entire ordeal and cover all expenses. He immediately offered to deposit an amount of rupees 1 lakh in the account of the petitioners for medical and legal expenses to be incurred by her. He appeared to be a mature person and accepted responsibility. He also assured us that he will accompany the petitioner to the hospital if she so desired and remain with her during the entire ordeal, shared Justices Divati, Mohit Dare and Neela Gokhale in the June 19 order. The woman 31 showed the High Court's nod as she had crossed the 24-week legally permissible limit. Her petition stated the pregnancy was due to the failure of a contraceptive device used by her and her then partner. They are no longer in a relationship and thus she was not desirous of continuing with the pregnancy. Her parents were not aware of her pregnancy and would not support her, leaving her to defend leaving her to fend for herself. She was also between jobs. Her advocate Nikita Rajesh said she has no financial or emotional support to carry the pregnancy to full term. Her former partner was unwilling to offer any assistance. Following High Court's order, the JJ Hospital Medical Board examined her and found no fetal anomaly. The judges took note of the pertinent opinion on her psychiatric evaluation. The woman had a history of sadness and stress, alcohol consumption, smoking and experimenting with cannabis. She underwent surgeries for past illnesses. However, she was found fit to make a decision for medical termination of pregnancy and to undergo MTP procedure. The judges interacted with the woman. She appeared to be extremely disturbed having to face these challenges. The petitioner has thus clearly made a conscious decision to terminate the pregnancy. They said, considering a Supreme Court decision that the pregnancy person due must be regarded the woman's right to reproductive freedom and the psychiatric evaluation, the judges were satisfied that the continuation of the pregnancy shall adversely affect the already disturbed psychological condition of the petitioner. Finding that the woman was left in a lurch by her own circumstances as well as the refusal of her partner to offer her support in any manner. Despite being an active participant in bringing about the present situation, the judges permitted her to implead him and inform him to remain present before them. Odisha slams advisory from US on travel to state over Maoist threat. It's do or die situation for the affected residents. Meghalaya police arrest two in MP for Raghuvanshi murder. Total arrest in case rise to 7. News from Shillong or Indore. A special investigation team SIT of Meghalaya police arrested two persons in Madhya Pradesh in connection with the murder of Indore businessman Raja Raghuvanshi, a senior officer said. With a fresh apprehensions, the total number of people arrested in the case rose to 7. The SIT on Saturday night arrested a property dealer for concealing a box belonging to Raghuvanshi's wife Sonam, who hid it in a flat in Indore after the murder last month. Meghalaya police SIT arrested one Shillong James. Let us take a break, please. Meghalaya police arrests two in MP for Raghuvanshi murder. Total arrests in case rise to 7. Minister Shivan Putty alleges Raj Bhavan behind ABVP protest. 4 killed in accident in West Bengal's Murshidabad. 3 drowned as vehicles swept away in swollen river in MP. bombastic, but really are the positives even for US. After hit Iran, the possible negatives are plenty. Fordo, forward thinking. Iran may still negotiate with US, taking a long view while skirmishing with Israel, even if its nuclear infra is damaged, its know-how isn't. Coding for the end, Captain America's new cause. The Spirit of India, Song of a Billion Souls. The rest of the news we will discuss later on. Please, thank you.